Hey actors, the first quarter of 2025 is over. So let's talk about your New Year's resolutions, specifically as they relate to your acting career, and see where you are in that journey. And if you didn't make any resolutions or goals this year, or you're just watching this at a different time of the year, I still have a few things to say that might help you in your career moving forward. Everyone, I'm Matthew Cornwell with Get Taped here in Atlanta, Georgia, one of Atlanta's original audition taping services, maybe even the original, which I co-own with my amazingly talented, because she was just on set, beautiful wife and best friend, Brooke. Here's a life hack. Marry your best friend. Okay, so this video is being recorded on March 31st of 2025, the last day of the first quarter. So if you made New Year's resolutions in December of last year, now's a good time to check in and see how you're doing, right? But first, let's define a resolution. For me, it is simply a goal that you have given yourself a year to achieve. And for that to happen, for you to achieve that goal, three things must be true. The goal must be specific, it must be actionable, and it must be reasonable. As an example, I just took a road trip to DC last weekend to watch my niece, who isn't even a teenager yet, test for her provisional black belt in Taekwondo. Oh, and she did amazing. I was so proud as an uncle who had grown up in the martial arts myself. Now, if my niece was a goal-setting type, then presumably last December, she could have sat down with her journal and written out what her goals were for the year. And this would have been something that was specific, actionable, and it was reasonable because she was already a high enough belt level that was the next logical step. If she was a white belt in December of last year, then this would not have been a reasonable goal. Make sense? But let's talk about acting goals, okay? If you did set some acting goals, great, but you may have made some tactical errors, especially if you were listening to some motivational speaker in December who was encouraging you to set big and lofty goals. Maybe they're the name it and claim it type. Regardless, if you did set some acting goals, there's a high probability that they included bookings, either a number of bookings for the year or maybe even specific bookings. Now, maybe you were already intuitively aware of that first criteria of a goal, specificity. So you got very specific about, I'm going to book 3 commercials this year and 3 television shows and 3 films. Okay, that's better than just having the goal of booking more. But let's say you had 0 bookings last year or 1 booking or 2 bookings, then jumping all the way up to 9 bookings is unreasonable. It's also still too generic. It's not specific enough. So, okay, let's say that you kept it simple. You just had the goal of booking 1 television show and it's a target show. And let's say you live in the Southeast US. That target show might be Will Trent, which is a quirky cop procedural that's on ABC. Great. That's specific. And it's even reasonable if, let's say, you already have auditioned for the show and you have a good relationship with the casting director here in the Southeast. So you've checked off specific and you've checked off reasonable. But what about actionable? And to make my point here, let's assume that any actionable goal could be broken down into 10 steps. Step 1 being the very first thing you do that is something you can do right now that doesn't have any sort of obstacles or barriers. Step 10 being that final achievement of the goal. Well, for this hypothetical goal of booking Will Trent, instead of starting with step 1, 2, 3, let's start at step 10 and work backwards. What would step 10 be? Well, it would be you replying yes to the deal memo you got from your agent offering you the role. And we could break this up different ways, but let's say that step 9, a reasonable step 9, would be that the head of the ABC network, at least the person who is the head honcho in charge of casting for the ABC network, had to sign off on you. Step 8 then would be the head of casting for 20th Century Television signing off on you, because the studio, 20th Century or 20th Film or 20th something, has to approve you before it goes to the network. And so that would be step 8. And then step 7 would be the producers, which I'm just sort of collectively putting them into one category. That might include the showrunner. Well, it would definitely include the showrunner because they're always an executive producer. The director might have input if they're also a producer. So even if we just lump all of them together into step 7, I've already highlighted that those last 3 steps before you get the deal memo, steps 7, 8, and 9, none of those are actionable by you. You can't influence those decisions. Do you even know who the showrunner is? Do you know the head of casting for ABC, the network? If you don't have coffee with these people on a regular basis, then you have no way of influencing their decision to hire you or not, which means that I have completely destroyed this as being an actionable goal. And we make these goals all the time, which just puts these expectations on ourselves, especially if you made that a resolution that had only 365 days to come to fruition. And then you're wondering why throughout the year or at the end of that year, as you're reflecting on your goals, you get sad or angry or resentful or hopeless. Hope shouldn't be factoring into your goals. Your goals should be actionable and achievable. And the goals should be reasonably hard to achieve for it to motivate you, but it should not be impossible, and it should not rest on the decisions of people you've never met and never will meet. So in short, just don't make these types of goals. Those are dreams. Those are visions. Those are things that go on the vision board or go in your dream journal. And it's important to have those things, to dream of walking the red carpet and dream of booking that series regular. But for your goals, again, they need to be actionable. Those 10 steps that you come up with should all be achievable by you. But I do know that you want to book more and you want to be able to affect those booking numbers. So let me sort of close by talking about the actors that I know here in the Southeastern market that are above average bookers and what they might share in common with each other. Well, as I think about it, I could summarize it as the following types of qualities. All of these actors have a discipline, a persistence, a determination, and an indomitable spirit that allows them to keep going. They're qualities that lead to a foundation of training that is so robust that they can hang with any actor in any scene on any set, period. That is, you're on set with an Oscar-winning actor and you don't fall apart. You don't get nervous. You don't forget your lines. You bring it. You actually make their performance better. These actors also have qualities that cause them to establish habits and disciplines that keep them ready so that when the opportunities arise, usually out of nowhere, right? Those deal memos are almost always surprises. They don't have to get ready because they've been ready every day. And they also have qualities that allow them to keep themselves in a healthy mindset. Yes, we're all susceptible to going down rabbit holes and to spiraling a little bit because of the different factors in our careers and in the industry that might lead us down those dark paths. But the type of actors that transcend above that are able to reset their minds, to recalibrate their mindset so that they're not wallowing in that anger and in that resentment and in that sadness and all of those despair type emotions. And all of those qualities are actionable. Yeah, you can cultivate those qualities. You can train more. You can read books like Atomic Habits by James Clear, link in the show notes below, that will teach you how to build habits, small habits. That's why it's called Atomic Habits, that can lead to bigger habits. There's this concept called habit stacking. And you can use those concepts to get creative about how you will build the career that you want to have through actionable steps that you're in control of. One of the things I've done, inspired by that book amongst several others and working with a private coach, is to establish a predictable nightly routine and morning routine. So I go to bed at the same time, give or take a few minutes every night. I wake up at the exact same time every morning, 7 days a week, no sleeping in on Saturdays. I have a predictable morning routine that includes going for a walk, working out, a little bit of meditation and reading, so that I'm always setting myself up for success every day. I also made some diet changes that have led to clearer skin. I mean, just check out some of the videos on this channel from 5 years ago, and you'll see what I mean by that. I have more consistent energy, and related to that, zero fatigue. That's been really nice. And it's great when you get those surprise 5 a.m. call times to be on set for a 12-hour day. So to wrap up, be careful, actors, about setting goals that you're actually not in control of. If every step to achieving that goal is not actionable and cannot be affected by you directly, then you just got to be careful about how you are holding yourself accountable to it. If it is a booking, just give yourself the grace that you are not in control of that booking. And if you want to learn even more about the things you are in control of or can take control over, I invite you to check out this video that I did on the eve of the dual strikes in 2023. And it will give you some more practical ideas on how you can take control of your career, the aspects of your career that are within your control. Okay, so that was a long, rambling journey through goal setting and checking in on those New Year's resolutions. And if this means that you completely toss out some and generate some new ones, well then I hope I've inspired you to get creative about how you look at goals and how you might set goals for the remainder of the year or for the next year. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on set.